Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. From New York City, it's Theater Talk. I'm Susan Haskins.
And I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post.
The Broadway season is revving up, and we're going to preview it with a terrific panel of theater experts.
And for their blinding insights about what the new theater season is going to look like, we have brought together some of our old pals here. We have Michael Musto of The Village Voice.
I just blinded 7 horses.
With your clothes
That's
on,
a reference to Drequus, a.k.a. Equus.
But there are only 6 horses in Equus, so...
Recession.
Michael Musto of The Village Voice. Jesse Green of New York Magazine, and Patrick Pacheco of New York One on Stage. Welcome, gentlemen, to the start of the new theater season. All right, Equus, Michael, you've all seen Equus. Before we jump into the other shows, I want a little review from the three of you. Does this important modern classic hold up?
I don't feel that Equus has held up very well. It's as moldy as an old cup of cheese fondue from the 70s. It's a lot of hocus-pocus psychological mumbo-jumbo about this boy who was trying to have sex with a girl but would rather play around with the chinkle-chankle of a male horse. You read into that what you like.
Patrick, does the play hold up?
I thought he was terrific. I thought his performance and his Broadway debut was great. I really think he's very good in that part of Alan Strang. And I kind of like the play, actually. It holds up for me. Yeah, maybe some of the supporting players were not so great. Some of them, you don't know what they're doing on that stage on some level. But I think he's the event of the season. I think people that want to see him in that role will be well satisfied.
And Jesse, how is he matched by the wonderful actor Richard Griffiths, who plays Dysart, the psychologist in this production?
Well matched. He's obviously a fine actor. I would say Radcliffe is good in the part, but it's more a matter that he chose well what kind of part to do after years of being Harry Potter, something that would stretch him, but not, make him burst. It's not so very difficult to do what he's doing, but he does it well. Yeah. Whereas what Richard Griffiths is doing is very difficult. It's really, he's the one who carries the play. It's a very subtle part, and he does do a good job. On the other hand, I agree with Michael that the fondue part.
Yeah, the play is a lot of hope.
Well, the notions of psychiatry are basically not much, above the level of witch doctor, and. Well, maybe it is for our times.
Well, actually, I interviewed Peter Schaffer not too long ago, and when he wrote the play, Equus, he called a prominent psychologist friend of his and showed him the play, and the psychologist said it's quite an interesting play, except the hypnosis scene. You've got this blinding light that's whizzing around, and he said, people haven't been hypnotized that way since Fu Manchu.
Yeah. Well, people haven't been hypnotized the way he tries to hypnotize the audience for many years either. The dramaturgy is pretty old-fashioned.
But that's how they got Katie Holmes into Scientology, no? With that laser light. Look into the light, Katie. Well, and now you'll be doing a middle-brow Arthur Miller play, too.
Speaking of which, thank you for the transition, the segue into another show that's about to open, the revival of All My Sons, one of, I think, Arthur Miller's first hit play, in fact. I quite like that play, Michael. It's become, though, Patrick, the Katie Holmes show. Is she going to be much of a draw, and do we know anything at this point about her performance?
I haven't seen it. I don't know what the buzz on it necessarily is. I think I agree with you. It's a really muscular and sinewy play. And who knows, Patrick Wilson and John Lithgow and Diane Wiest, once the reviews are out, may well steal that thunder. I can't recall that if that role is that pivotal, her role in it.
I don't remember the role that she's playing in it. She's the girlfriend of...
Yeah, it's an important but not pivotal role, and people who go there to see her or to see Tom Cruise in the wings swinging a watch or whatever he does are going to be very disappointed, because most of the play is on the shoulders of those other fine actors you mentioned, who we can pretty well expect will do a good job.
It's a really muscular play.
It's a play about conscience, which is his favorite topic. And
it's a play set just after World War II, so it supposedly has relevance to what's going on today.
And certainly we could use a conscience play right now.
Absolutely.
Well, it might as well be about Halliburton. I mean, it is about a manufacturer who does not adequately protect, or is accused of not adequately protecting the soldiers, and the consequences of that. And if you're looking for relevance, it isn't very hard to find.
I hear, by the way, that they're deconstructing the show. Have you heard this?
No.
And you're actually going to see the actors, and this is no Michael Musto joke. See them getting ready for their cues and being told, like in an Our Town or Annie Get Your Gun with the Burn.
Okay, I take it all back. I don't think you can expect this.
Who's the director?
Simon and McBurney, I think.
Oh, right.
L. Ron Hubbard, I think.
Michael, what is the motivation for a Katie Holmes to do a Broadway show?
I think it's because she supposedly, this is another not joke, was too busy to do the biggest movie of all time, Dark Knight, in which she would have recreated her role from the other Batman film. It went to Maggie Gyllenhaal. And so now, hey, I have some free time, folks. Why don't I try to get some credibility?
And I want to get out of the house.
Yeah, I'm tired of that little slurry creature.
There's also the illusion persists in Hollywood that Broadway is something dignified.
Yes.
And luckily, some people are still drawn in by it.
Well, because her acting career has floundered while she's been Mrs. Tom Cruise, and she's trying to get it back and get something for herself.
Now,
some
are you suggesting The Little Mermaid when you bring in the flounder?
What?
Okay, sorry. I thought you were suggesting another role for her.
Didn't it work for Nicole Kidman?
Well,
Who was married to Tom Cruise
well,
at the
certainly
time?
did. She ended up not married to Tom Cruise. I think it worked very well.
Maybe this is the path that she's
So it's a kind of Reno for Hollywood actresses.
Now, Mr. Cruise is apparently very litigious, so let's not even go there.
Oh, I don't mean Reno then. I mean Carson City.
All right, moving on to two other revivals. We've got two David Mamet revivals, American Buffalo and Speed the Plow. I mean, aren't we a little Mameted out, Michael? We've just had a bunch of Mamet plays in the last couple of seasons.
He's almost become the Neil Simon of the new millennium.
Of the dyspeptic age.
He's not even corrosive and bitter anymore. He's kind of cute, you know, watching these con artists outsmart each other.
Yeah.
But Haley Joel Osment will be wearing clothing in American Buffalo, so that he'll look out into the audience and say, I see rich people. Yeah. Because Broadway costs a lot of money these days.
With the economy going the way it is, we'll be looking at the audience, I see no one.
I see no people.
Yes, and of course, this is star casting Jeremy Piven, who already has artistic credibility.
Jeremy Piven, who will be in
actor.
Speed the Plow.
In Speed the Plow, yes, that they are bringing this cast
And that's
in.
really a stretch for Jeremy to play a shady Hollywood type.
What's your sense about these Mamet plays? I mean, did they hold up pretty well? Or
The early ones certainly do. American Buffalo is, I think, one of the great plays of the last 50 years. And the Madonna play, as it will now forever be known, is maybe not quite at that level. But hey, it's worth a try. There's only 3 performers in it, and we've got a lot of nearly empty theaters. Let's put something in them.
Yeah. Moving along, Patrick, to musicals. The big musical of the season is Billy Elliot, which has been a huge hit in London. It's finally coming to America, New York. Do you get any sense, though, that maybe they waited a little too long to come from London to generate the kind of excitement they're going to have to generate in this difficult economic climate?
I'm not sure how buzz works that way. I mean, it obviously came up with Hair, moving from Central Park to Broadway, and there was some debate as to whether to move it directly in the fall part of the season rather than wait till spring. It's going to wait till spring. How you sort of, animate the marketing engines on something like this. I think once it hits, I think the word of mouth will be great. I saw it, you saw it in London.
It's a terrific show.
It's a great show. It's a great story. How much they change it or modify it, I'm not quite sure.
A fair amount.
A fair amount?
Fair amount.
Really
And they also had another...
Now, let's just say that they're the modifications, because it's set in a working class northern England town. And there was a lot of concern about the accents. Americans wouldn't get that working class
That's not so much
British
what they're
accent.
changing.
What are they changing?
I mean, there's a slight modifications. They don't say electricity. But they're making changes based on 3 years of experience with the show, tightening it and improving it. They're not so much... I think most Americans can be given 5 minutes to get used to the accent, and then they're fine. The problem with the transfer, in part, has been it's a huge industry to create these Billies. You can't just find them the way they are. You find a kid who has one of those towns, and you have to teach them all the other towns. It takes a long time.
Because the kid playing Billy Elliot's got to sing, dance.
Do I smell a reality show in the making?
Well, really, it's a shock that it wasn't
search
one.
for the next Billy
They've
Elliot.
created a school, haven't they?
There's a Billy school, and anyway, it takes a long time, and then they have this unfortunate habit of going through puberty and out the door, so they have to
Like
keep
Menudo.
Michael, have you heard the score to Billy Elliot, Elton John's music? Some people say it's the best score that he's written for the musical theater.
From the parts that I've seen, it seems very strong. I think this will get tremendous buzz, and I like anything that combines miners with helmets and miners with acne. All dancing together in a big old conga line.
Just like that. Now, there's another show, though, that could pose some real competition to Billy Elliot. Maybe the only one out there, Fela, the off-Broadway musical about Fela Kuti that got very, very good reviews and is definitely moving to Broadway in the spring.
It is?
Yeah, a good show, Patrick? What's your assessment of Fela?
I don't see it as much competition, actually. I think Bill T. Jones did a great job
The
of
choreographer,
staging. I think
director
the
of it,
music by Fela Anikapulu
Fela Kuti.
Kuti, yeah.
Is terrific. It's about this Nigerian political activist. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
The storytelling leaves a lot to be desired, or something to be desired in that score. I don't think it's going to be Fela or Billy Elliot. I think it's going to be Billy Elliot or 9 to 5. I think it's those kind of kind of comparisons.
But Fela, it's not about the storytelling. It's an Afrobeat concert.
But Patrick isn't
it's
talking about the
beautifully designed
content.
and
He's talking
conceived.
about who it will appeal to.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but at least Fela is something new and innovative. It's not based on a movie, and it's introducing audiences to.
And it's not aimed at just the middle brow audience that 9 to 5 is aimed at. Fela is aiming for something higher.
I think. Well, are you talking about commerce? You're talking about art.
Art!
We're talking about art.
I'm sorry, we're on the wrong show then. I was misled.
What do you think of Fela, and what do you think of its prospects on Broadway?
What he said. I loved the physical production, the staging, the music until my ears gave out after about an hour and 45 minutes. The storytelling is not well thought through. I don't find the point of view convincing. It doesn't matter as long as the spectacle of it is as wonderful as it is. But if there's any hope for it commercially, they're going to have to work on that. And even when they do, it's going to be more of an insider kind of show than the kind that 9 to 5 or Billy Elliot.
Michael, is it going to attract the show queen audience, Fela? Is it a big...
Well, show queens will go to everything, but it is a hard sell. It's basically, as Susan says, it's a concert with anecdotes. So he's giving a concert as Fela, but he's also telling his story. And it becomes increasingly dramatic. Not the part with the audience participation where you have to get up and swivel your hips. What does that have to do with Nigerian activism? I don't know. Clive Barnes looks so unhappy.
Get it, 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 get it,
But the staging and the genius of Bill T. Jones' presentation of this story
And that magnificent actor.
the flaws of
That
the show.
actor is
That actor.
incredible.
So now are you ruling out Shrek as a contender?
No, I'm moving right along.
All right.
I just wanted to, start on a higher plane with Billy Elliot and Fela, and now we're moving down to yet again, Jesse, another kids movie turned in. Well, you've got children.
So I'm the one responsible.
Another kids movie turned into a Broadway musical. What do we know about Shrek?
Well, it is a kids' movie, but it was an excellent kids' movie,
Yes, it
and
was.
before that, it was a superb kids' book.
Yeah.
So I'm not so quick to assume that it will be as bad as you seem to enjoy hoping it will be. The composer, Janine Tesori, is not exactly one of your low-class Disney... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Your low-class
Oh,
Disney
no, now I will
hacks.
never get into one of those shows.
Consider yourself lucky.
She's a fine composer. Maybe people didn't like Carolyn or Change as much as I did, but this is not a hack show. What they're able to make out of cartoon characters remains to be seen. The tryouts out west were, moderately well received.
And
from
it's
what I
written
read.
by Pulitzer Prize winner
David Lindsay Abaire. So I'm not so quick to dismiss it. We'll have to see how it is.
Michael, your sense of Shrek, are you excited about it?
I think it's the biggest show about a troll since the Bob Dylan jukebox show. No, I agree with Jesse. First of all, it was a children's movie, but with very adult humor and very smart references. Did you ever see it, Michael? Also, I think you had to eat crow recently and admit that it got decent reviews out of town.
A brief admission, I will get over it and be on the attack again, don't worry.
And there's Broadway talent. There are troopers in there like Sutton Foster, Christopher Sieber, Brian Darcy James, all these people who are like almost stars.
Yeah.
And maybe never will be huge stars, but always do yeoman's work. So.
Right. But here's a question, Patrick. Entering this very difficult economic climate, this is a family show. Are there families out there who are going to be able to afford to spend $500 to take the kids to see Shrek?
I think that's the big unknown, and I think we're gonna see a real fall off in business. I can't imagine that we're not going to see a real
there
fall
will
off.
be
and tremendous competition among shows for that
A dwindling audience.
rather than two. A dwindling audience, exactly.
Well, and a tremendous competition among the theater owners to get shows into the theaters once they start falling, which has already begun, as we've seen with
A lot
Legally
of shows.
Blonde and Xanadu.
Legally Blonde, another
Title of show
going down.
And there will be a few more in the next couple weeks.
In terms of revivals of musical, the only one I see out there, Michael, is a revival of Rodgers and Hart's Pal Joey.
And that's not something we see every year, at least.
Yeah, I know.
And it is a potentially star-making role, I think.
For Christian
Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly, and Bob Fosse all did pretty well with it.
Yeah.
Christian Hoff was the other guy in Jersey Boys.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's a gamble to put someone
And he
like
won
him.
an Emmy.
Tony.
Emmy, Tony.
Right,
And he
for
won a
Best
Tony.
Featured
Yeah.
Actor, and which you predicted, I remember.
Wow.
I went with LaChanze or something.
They always say, though, the problem with Pal Joey is the book. The book has always been...
Well, they've gotten rid of that.
Right.
Really?
They've
Oh,
revised
yes,
it.
it's
Yeah,
Richard Greenberg is writing a new book.
Because they always, the knock against the show was always that Joey was such an unsympathetic character that an audience really never warms up to him in the
that
show.
today would probably not be
Right,
much of
exactly.
a problem.
In post-Chicago.
Yeah, I think that the real problem is the way the book was structured, and the subsidiary characters would appear and disappear. It wasn't a very coherent book of a musical. It was based on a series of short stories. It wasn't the best kind of source material, although great characters. So I imagine, although I haven't read the new script, that Richard Greenberg is trying to make more of a contemporary play out of the material, and then hope that all the great numbers can get slotted in appropriately, and a few new numbers as well.
I've read the book. I've read the.
You've read Richard Greenberg?
I read it, yeah,
Really?
because it was
And?
done in Boston with I think Patty Dupont. Was it? No, it was Donna Murphy, who was in a production of the Richard Greenberg revised book in Boston about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, so, and what did you think of Richard's book?
I thought it was terrific. I thought it was much, much sharper, much more focused. And the interesting thing about it is that Joe Mantello is directing it. And having seen 9 to 5 in Los Angeles when I was out there a couple of weeks, and knowing that it's there, but it needs work, is he going to have time to work on it if he's got Pal Joey as well?
There's built-in time for 9 to 5 to take a rest and do rewrites before it comes in.
And any excitement out there for 9 to 5? I mean, is Dolly Parton going to, be the first country western composer to really make it on Broadway? Because country music has not been too well received in Broadway theater.
Roger Miller won the Tony for Big River.
20 million years ago.
Oh, really? Was it that long ago?
I mean, Michael, as a real credentialed show queen, do you like do you like
Never assume.
do you like country music on Broadway?
Look, there is so much love for Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
If you don't like Dolly Parton, you're not human. You're Sarah Palin. But unfortunately, Dolly Parton's not going to be up there. Except, I think in one night in preview, she was up there because the set broke and she had to go up and entertain the audience.
Twice.
Hopefully, that'll happen every night.
Sorry, just do the office.
Tale of Two Cities?
No. I want to ask a question about our profession. Drama criticism, covering the theater in newspapers. Star Ledger is a newspaper that is probably going to go down. A couple drama critics I know are taking buyouts, leaving their jobs. One reads all the time that art sections are being cut back at papers across the country. Critic jobs are going.
And you were fired this morning.
Right? I hadn't made the announcement yet.
Should have taken the buyout.
I mean, are we really seeing a diminishment, Patrick, in serious arts coverage in the newspapers?
I think the diminishment has been going on since the internet and the proliferation of websites and web scenes and Talkin' Broadway and chat rooms, and it's getting so totally diffused. There's not the power that, say, the New York Times had it at one point, or any of the print media had at one time. I think there's been a diffusion of the print media in general, in politics, in social issues, in metropolitan issues. I mean, across the board.
Do we really need theater critics anymore?
I think we need them, but I agree that their power has become diffused. I mean, you read some of the reviews on these boards by anonymous people working for free, and they're beautifully thought out, tell you everything you need to know about a production, good and bad. By the time the review comes out, you go, oh yeah, I already read that on all that chat. So,
I have never read that review that you just described online, not once.
But I mean, is it
Yes, I think we still need professional.
Why do we need professional theater critics?
I think we need more. That's the problem. But there's no venue for it. It's not going to happen. So I'll just go in the other room and cry.
I don't think the public senses that it needs it now, though. I think the public gets...
Yes.
they don't sense that they need it. And consequently, the editors and the publishers don't think that they need it.
But that doesn't mean they don't need it.
No.
And we know best.
But isn't this part of the problem, though, with you elite media people? That you want to be the gatekeepers of things? You feel that
We elite media people, we ran the country into the ground. We're the ones who did it.
But you want to be the gatekeepers of culture, and you want to anoint this and anoint that and tell people to stay away from this?
I want the gates wide open, but I want people with knowledge writing about it, if not for everybody, at least for the people who are have only a few things they can pick and want to pick the best stuff.
Or for the people who are going to make stuff in the future, to give them a few tips on how not to go wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially as the price goes up and up and
Yes.
up and up and up.
Yes.
And nobody wants to see a diminution of their power. Certainly not the media and certainly not the press, but I don't think they have much to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, do you find, Michael, you're a gossip columnist. Do you find that gossip column items still have a big impact? Or is it all
They do, but it's a Wild West situation where the internet has made everyone a gossip columnist. Anyone can have a blog and post anything they feel or know immediately. So even though I now have a blog, I get scooped because somebody posted the same thing 2 seconds ago. But I welcome the change. What do you want, a whole society back? I'm not one of the Magnificent Ambersons. I welcome new venues of information. It can only be good for everybody. It just makes us all work harder to stay fresh and relevant.
In our waning moments, may I come back to the theater and mention a couple more shows that are opening up? We have 13 with the cast of 13.
nobody cares about that.
I mean,
The mothers of those 13 kids.
We have 13 with a cast of 13-year-olds, which I hear is quite delightful. And then I wanted to also ask you that we recently had a massive production on the Dickens.
Nobody cares. This is a tale of two cities. Nobody cares
Cities.
about
Do you
that
think
either.
that was very, very bad? Do you think that was going to last? They're making a go of it.
They've
Michael
prepaid
Musto.
their rent for a while. We haven't mentioned a very good play
Yes.
that's opening,
Okay.
Dividing the Estate. It was done off
Yeah,
Broadway.
wonderful.
last
I'm
year.
in.
Yeah.
It's a marvelous play, a marvelous production, and will be on Broadway for 7.5 weeks. So come
also-
and get it
Couldn't
Yeah.
agree with you more.
And we go, one revival we missed is West Side Story is coming, and the little twist
in the
is...
spring.
Spanish lyrics.
That's why I asked you,
I
'cause
think
you-
Lin-Manuel, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I believe, is
Yes.
working with Stephen Sondheim.
And
to
Arthur
write-
Lawrence, right? Yeah.
And Arthur Lawrence to rewrite some of those lyrics to America.
I'd really
in
love to know
Spanish.
how. Do you have any sense of how Steve Sondheim feels about some
Well, I would
little
imagine he
kid
would,
coming along to rewrite his
he
lyrics
loves,
in Spanish?
I would imagine he'd be delighted to rewrite "I Feel Pretty" because he's always hated that song. He always said it sounded like the poor girl fresh off the boat might do well in Noel Coward's salon. But I'm more curious about how they do a song like America with its fabulous trick rhymes in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yo quiero ser en America. It's easy.
That's it. Good. That's it. All right, and just give us one thing off the radar you're hearing about that's worth looking at, checking out.
You start.
Little show somewhere.
Well, I have a lot of
White
spring
Christmas?
things.
No,
Off Broadway, everybody has got to be interested in Roadshow, the 15th incarnation of the Sondheim Weidman musical that used to be known as Bounce or
That's
Gold
right.
That
or
Michael
Wise
killed,
Guys.
yeah, twice.
Yes. So it's back again, Michael. What are you going to do?
Kill it again.
Okay.
And it's called Roadshow.
It's
called
now called
Roadshow
Roadshow,
now.
starring Michael Cerveris and Alexander Giuliani.
And we should say it's about the
Misner
The
brothers.
Meisner brothers.
Meisner, sorry.
You're making a face at the new Stephen Sondheim musical. He's gotten it right, Michael?
I can't see this magically turning around. I never saw it, but I did hear the score, and I thought it was not vintage Sondheim. And whatever, if you want to call it gold, Bounce, Wise Guys, what is it, Roadshow?
Roadshow.
Yes.
For
This is not...
Maybe if they do it in Spanish?
I'm just saying that
Bring it around.
whatever it has become, everyone who's interested in the musical theater will inevitably want to see it.
We'll have to see it.
Yeah.
And that and
no
that
question.
and Tale of Two Cities. People should see that. They're interested
I
in
wouldn't
it.
put them in the same sentence, Michael.
No. And Michael, anything out there? You're sort of a downtown kind of a guy. Is there?
There's that all-boy review that you were in.
with Jim J. Bullock. No, last time I said something sarcastic about Seagull with Kristen Scott Thomas, and now I'm going tomorrow, and I actually think
3
she's a
hours.
fine actress.
3
hours. Well, A Tale of Two Cities was not necessarily a tale of two acts for me, so I don't always stay to the end, but I'm going to make
But
it.
if you don't stay to the end of the Seagull, you don't know that she... Oh, excuse me.
Don't give it away.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
Wrap it up,
Okay.
darling.
All right, well, thanks for your insights in the theater season, and we'll see you on the aisle.
I'm in the middle.
The diminishing aisle.
Now,
And there'll be no one else in the theater, of course, because the economy's falling apart. There's going to be no audience, no shows, empty theaters. It's 1974 all over again, and that's
Well, on
that's
that
the future
gloomy
of New York.
note.
Yeah. Jesse Green from New York Magazine, Michael Musto from The Village Voice, and Patrick Pacheco from New York One on Stage. Thanks for being our guests tonight on Theater Talk.
Thank you.
so we close now with a musical conversation between Bernadette Peters and, speak of the devil, Stephen Sondheim from the popular off-Broadway review Forbidden Broadway.
I never forgot you, Steve. You gave me so much.
What did I ever give you?
Many things. Sunday in the park, into the woods, vocal damage. But enough about me. Are you working on something new?
No.